Crowdfunding is an addiction. Let's talk. I call crowdfunding a drug. Kickstarting is a drug. You might as well replace the word kickstart as a verb with the word drug as a verb, right? Because that means to drug, to administer to someone in order to induce stupor or insensibility, right? How many of you meet that criteria right there, that you've had that happen to you from crowdfunding? That's why it's a problem, folks. Let's go one step further. Addiction, a compulsive, chronic, physiological, or even psychological need for habit-forming behavior or activity, right? How many times have you seen those posts on Board Game Geek, Reddit, Facebook, whatever? They're like, I've spent X thousands of dollars on crowdfunding. I am a completionist. I am a whatever. I have backed this many things. And other times you see people respond to that by saying, well, do you have the money for it? Well, it's just your disposable income, so it's not a big deal, right? You know, there's a phrase that gets thrown around. I'm from Michigan with the Detroit Lions. Every year we think the Detroit Lions are going to be better than they are. And the Detroit Lions, let's be, honest here, they're freaking awful. Worst franchise history in the last 50 years in the NFL. That's besides the point, though. But it's illustrating the point that I'm going for here is we have a drug in Michigan that's associated with the Detroit Lions. It's called hopium, right? It's hope that is addicting. Getting hopeful every year, feeling like this year is going to be different. Feeling like you go onto the crowdfunding site and this time is going to be different. And you're not going to get the all-in pledge. You're only going to get the core pledge. You're not going to be tempted by all those add-ons. You're only going to get this project and not this project. You're not going to go into the pledge manager and get 2 or 3 other projects from the previous, games that the publisher has done. This is a drug. It's being injected into us on a daily basis from a psychological, from a marketing standpoint, addiction straight into the veins. Only the veins being your eyeballs instead of just an actual needle into the arm. I mean, let's talk for a second. The dramatic freaking rise of previews. And not just from small channels, but from big channels too. Because we've seen the rise of paid content that has been in that form. People willing to pay for it, but people willing to shell out for it in that sense as well. And this is the thing, right? Like, that's what gets the views right now because of the selectivity of some of those things. It's the only thing available on some projects. Oftentimes we associate the word hype with these videos, right? They are hyping things up to a point of, to go back to the very beginning, insensibility of you making a decision that you otherwise may not make outside of those sorts of things, to give you just enough to make you desire it all the better. And it goes into the hopium side of things because we always hope. We're chasing the dragon. We're chasing after the next big thing. We're chasing after the next game that is going to fulfill me, that makes me feel complete, to make my collection feel complete, to fill the void that is missing in the center of my body or the center of my collection. Because I don't have that mechanism. I don't have that theme. I don't have that combination of things. I don't have that in a cooperative sense. Whoa, that's the hardest worker placement game I've ever seen. That's got a 6.0 scale on the Board Game Geek weight scale. Holy cow, I don't have anything like that. We need to get that. Holy cow, that was the best game of 2022. I need to have that. Everyone tells me that was the best thing. That was the best one of 2021. That's the best one of 2023. I need it. It's going to make me feel complete. And then you buy it. Do you feel complete? Has that itch gone away yet? Or is that itch worse? Right? And now this is heading beyond crowdfunding as well too now. Because it's not just the crowdfunding side of things, but that's the target here in this video. Can you really not back something? The FOMO drug, if you will, to call it, and put a name to it in that sense. Can you withdraw from crowdfunding? You know, are you going to go through withdrawals? Can you say next month I am not going to back anything? No crowdfund November. Now it doesn't have the quite ring of NNN, no something else November, but can you do it? Could you do it? Could you say no buy anything for a month? How's that going to make you feel? Are you going to feel weird about that? Can you do that? Can you handle that? And again, this is going beyond whether or not you have the disposable income for it, right? You know, because there's plenty of people that are in this, but there are also plenty of people that have well above and beyond the disposable income for it too, that are still in that situation. Just because I can, therefore I should, right? Just because I can, therefore I do as well. So, you know, as a whole, as a hobby, how sustainable is that? Well, as a hobby right now, it's really sustainable because publishers, for the most part, care more about you buying rather than you playing. They care more about the deluxeifications. They care more about the components that are enticing you to buy, not necessarily enticing you to play. Like, it's not like you buy these things, the nicer components, the deluxeified things on crowdfunding that hook you in, that get you the FOMO that you don't want to miss out on. It's not like those things make it easier to play, right? It's not like you buy a deluxeification, automatically the game is 50% easier to play. It's 50% easier to get to the table, right? No, it's not. Makes it look prettier when it gets to the table, but can you get it to the table? How many of those times have you gotten that game to the table more than once or twice? Like, it's not like it gets any easier from that side of things. Now, if it did, I mean, again, that would be a great investment. But that's not what people are trying to do, right? That's why we have so many games over a short span as well. Not just from crowdfunding, but from retail as well, from this aspect. People have been talking about this bubble bursting. People have been talking about this popping eventually, right? We're in the golden age of board games. But is it going to happen anytime soon? Probably not. Because again, the cycle is just continuing, right? Because you have a lot more people that have more disposable income that can afford to have this sort of addiction, if you will, my broad sense of the term, than the ones that can't. And as long as that cycle repeats itself, I mean, that's going to be the situation. What can you do about that? Don't buy everything that sounds good. You know, to steal the phrase from elsewhere, right? Like, do you love it? Love it or lose it? Does it bring you joy? No. Does it bring you love? Because there's lots of things that'll bring you joy. Clicking on the cart to check it out is going to bring you joy. But does it bring you joy to actually get it and keep it and play it? Does that bring you joy? Does sitting on your shelf actually bring you joy? Those are the questions you need to be asking yourself, because it's easy to do the first part. If it doesn't bring you joy, and when I say joy, I really mean, do you love it? Like, we have been oversaturated with games that I like, games that I think are okay, games that are meh. Buy games you love. Buy games you really, really can't wait to get back to the table. You know, that's a key component of replayability. That's a whole nother video though. How much does that factor in? How much should it factor in? Is that the drug to wean off of? If crowdfunding right now and hype is heroin, is getting a game to the table again and again and again, you know, the methadone of the board game hobby. It's a weird way to end this video, but that's where I'm going with it. You know, I have to play this game 5 times. You know, I see these posts occasionally. I have to play this game 5 times. I have to have all the games in my collection played before I'm going to get something else. And some of us scoff at those. Frankly speaking, I mean, that's sounding more and more appealing all the time nowadays, right? Like, I wish I could literally sell all of the games in my Calyx behind the camera right now. Don't need them. Don't love them. Like them. Like some of them a lot. Not in love. In like. And don't need them. Because, you know, one of those things. That's all I got. I'm rambling here at the end. Point over, rant over, try and stay as neutral as best I can in these situations, you know, trying to make it helpful for you guys and not feed the addiction with my videos either. You know, putting my love where it can be done the best way possible. That's all I got. Do the YouTube thing. Let me know what you think. Comments down below. Tell me how wrong I am as usual with one of these rants, rambles, raves. There you go. Stay classy. See you around.